So the first thing I want to say is that unlike AutoCAD, Microstation saves the file by itself. So that means that you don't have to save a file. Now, what does that mean? A lot of software are RAM-based software, meaning that unless you go into File Save, your work is not saved. In Microstation, it's a data writing based software, meaning that you're basically just writing straight onto the file, so you don't have to save. So if there's a power cut or if there's some kind of forced exit of the software, your work is saved on a continuous basis. Every time you draw a line, it's saved. Now what's not saved is your preferences, which you can see on the top left here. So things like the level you want to be in. Basically these are your layers and so on and so forth, and the different other attributes and stuff, even where you are on the screen. You can save that. If you go up here, you can save your settings, and the next time you open the file, you'll actually be right here on that level with everything that you had before. Now, unlike AutoCAD again, just need to specify this before we start. When you want to cancel a command, you don't use the escape button, you use the right click. And unlike AutoCAD again, you don't have to enter the command or press space to re-engage with the command. Microstation allows you to just keep that command. It resets the command back to the start, so you don't have to re-engage with it. It's somewhat faster that way. Now, just remember, instead of escape, you use the right click to cancel. That's one of the most important differences between the two software. Also, if I want to start a new file, which is what we're going to be doing, instead of there's two ways to exit the program. The first one is file close and file exit. So file close will essentially just take me to the starting up the software fresh without opening any files, while file exit will just exit the software. Now again, I don't have to save my file or any changes that we've made. So you'll see here, if I draw these lines and then I just go file close, and it'll close the file, and then we reopen it, and obviously wait for it to load up. You will see that, okay, my settings weren't saved there. I didn't save the settings, which I should have. But you'll see that our line here is drawn, but it reset to the previous settings that I had, where I was zoomed in on that area. So if I was to go here, let's try that again, and I go up here and go, okay, save settings, right? And it says down here, settings saved. And now I go into File, Close. So I can close the file, and I open it up again. There you go. We are zoomed in where we were before. We have the same levels as we had before. Everything is exactly the same. So it saved the last settings and preferences that you had previous. So if I was to use file exit, it will just exit the software. While with file close, it enables us to essentially just close the existing file and allows us to open a new file. So for the first step in Microstation is to create a new file. So how do we do that? Well, you have to press, obviously, new file. Now, you'll be given a place you want to save it. In this case, I'm just going to save it in Microstation 2D here, and you're going to want to name the file, whatever it is you want to name it. In this case, we'll say tutorial file. The type is DGN. So DWG is the Autodesk standard writing file. In Microstation and Bentley software in general, like Open Buildings and so on and so forth, they use DGN writing style. Now, those are now interchangeable, but at some point, they, if you had DGN, you weren't able to open it on Autodesk software, and vice versa. But now they are allowing for the interconnection, so you don't have to worry too much about it. What I will say about it, though, is if you're working on Microstation and then you want to move over into AutoCAD, you will be having issues with line weights, because both software use different line weights to deal with these things. Now, once you've done that, once you named it and you saved the type, the other very essential part is to select your seed file. Now, a seed file is essentially your template, and we have some preset templates here, as you can see. There are imperial settings for 2Ds, there are metric settings for 2Ds, and for 3D as well. So generally a company would have its own seed file, but Bentley provides us with some preset seed files. So any one of these would be fine, depending on what it is that you want, if you imperial metric. But for our case in the UK, we're going to be going for metric drawing, and we're just going to open that. See, now it's loaded up that seed file. You can just press save, and what it does is it'll just create the file for you. So you'll have a saved file there, because remember, this is a data written software based, so what means that it requires a file to write in before you do anything else. Now you can see down here we have our view as before. It just says, it engages that this is a 2D metric drawing file. There are our basic commands up here, which we will go through.